talk a little bit about some of the subjects I've covered on my last live streams, my last videos, and relate this to a lot of theories going on in the conspiracy theory realm about the flat Earth, about the ice wall, and what supposedly is beyond the ice wall or beyond the dome Earth. And I'm just going to put some questions out there because, as with everybody, nobody has the answers. And I think that if anyone tries to answer some of these questions, they'll probably end up with failed attempts to answer them unless you actually have some solid proof. And a lot of this stuff is not something I've seen anybody have proof about. I'm going to talk about the flat Earth. Those of you who are familiar with the flat Earth are aware that there is not a disk floating around in space. That is the stupidest theory out there. I don't know of anybody that's a flat earther that believes that there is a disk floating in space. I don't believe there is an outer space, and I know a lot of friends of mine who have the same idea, and some of them are kooks. I don't claim that everybody that's in the flat earth movement knows what they're talking about or even like actually there. There are some crazy people out there. But there are some people like Rob Skiba who I think is really onto something, and I did get to meet Rob Skiba one time down in Texas, and it was just a short conversation. I met him in Dallas, had dinner with some of my friends like Jake and John Pounders, or Jake Grant and John Pounders. And when I went there, I asked Rob Skiba about the flat earth if he ever thought of trying to either travel beyond the ice wall or try to go beyond this edge, whatever it is, whether it is an ice wall or if the ice wall even exists. I mean, there's a lot of conjecture out there. But I asked him what he thought, and he said that he didn't think that would be possible because he said the military is all controlling it. Again, this is all conjecture. I don't know if there is answers to this. But what Rob Skiba said he was interested in is going to the center. That he believes there really could be something really cool or really unique, like a magical paradise kind of place at the center of the disc. Like this disc I have here is Gefarten, or the Fellowship of the Ring in German. If I use this for illustrative purposes, say the Earth is like a disc. But again, it's not floating around in space, so I really think that you got to make sure you understand that. But the Earth is like a disc, and the outer ring is the ice wall or Antarctica. And in the middle, this right here, that is the center or the tree or the North Pole or Mount Meru. There's a lot of conjecture what that is. But I'm putting my pinky there to illustrate my point. That there is some kind of a tree or a mountain in the center, according to ancient myths and legends and religions and all this stuff. In the Bible, the Tanakh, in Bereshit, it says there is Etz Chaim, or the tree of life, in the center. And that's where Adam and Cheva, Adam and Eve, were created. And according to Norse mythology, that's Yggdrasil, or the tree. And then there's the rivers of life that flow beneath it. In Hindu and Buddhist theology, this is the exact same thing. There's this tree, and you wonder, why is there this tree in all these mythologies in the center of the world, and what does that mean? There's also, speculation that this is actually a bridge to other worlds or a bridge to other paradise. Again, speculation, but I want to get to my point, so I'm just not speculating, but actually coming to some conclusion. So, we got Earth as a flat, disc-like thing, okay? As you can tell from a geometrical standpoint, either this disc is floating around in space. Infinite space is what we're taught in school. We're taught that there's actually a ball, but I don't even want to get into that. I'm just assuming that people would be smart enough to go past the ball Earth, because the ball Earth is probably some of the ridiculous bollocks there is out there. Anyways, this is the center disc, and I don't believe it's an outer space. What I believe is that this disc actually has a bottom, there's a foundation, and there is a top, and there is an edge, okay? And what's beyond that I don't believe that we know right now. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They say that for many billions and trillions of light years out there, there's just infinite nothingness with stars and planets that have no life on it and are just pointless, and nobody knows where their purpose lies. And I mean, who really cares about them besides they say, well, God, God just created these pointless planets and stars and galaxies for just no apparent reason, and then he just has one teeny tiny little place called Earth, and that's where he sends his son Jesus Christ to die on the cross for our sins, and that's apparently where we're special. And I don't believe it could possibly be true, because anybody that's created in the image of God, the likeness of Elohim, any human being, they also have the power to create, and even little children can create something. And say if I'm going to create an imaginary world, I say I have Legos or action figures or whatever when I was a little child, and I have this world, I would create the world that I'm focused on. There'd be no point in creating other things where I'm not focused on. It just wouldn't make sense. So the question is this dome Earth or this circle Earth that we live on, and for some reason, whatever lies beyond the edge, like Admiral Byrd, he had said that there's continents, or at least a continent, singular, that is even bigger than the United States of America, and he said this is going to be great for adventurous Americans that want to travel beyond and travel and see more land and see to a deeper extent what lies out there. And again, Admiral Byrd, if you're not aware, he was an admiral in the United States Navy back in like the 1940s. And so, as you can see, he would have traveled beyond the ice wall, beyond the circumference, and he said there's other land beyond that, and we don't know about it. It's not on our maps. The center is Yggdrasil, or the paradise, the Garden of Eden. That's also off limits, and I mean for some good reasons, apparently, because I think whoever's really in charge of this world doesn't want us to know about the center of the world, that tree of life, or the possible connection, a portal to other countries or other realms. And I think that's kind of strange, because I think that was a very important part of our history that got lost back in the 1400s, and even back prior to that in the 1200s. In Norse mythology, it states that there's 9 realms, and a lot of people know these 9 realms from Marvel movies and different superhero movies, that they're familiar with Asgard, Niflheim, Midgard, Svartalheim. You got Helheim, and a few more. These are all other realms that, in today's modern understanding, they're all fictional. They don't exist. They're just goofy or something. But I definitely think there's something more to it, because if it really just didn't exist and they were just made up for someone's apparent humor or something, I think that well, for one, the old books wouldn't have survived, especially not for 1,000 years, if it was just some kind of a Tolkien fantasy back in the Middle Ages. Somebody happened on a book and it lasts for 1,000 years. I don't know. But let's get into something a little bit on a different topic, and this is something I've been doing a lot of work on, and that is the idea that we can create our own languages. And I'm going to get into this on a further stream. And again, none of this is copyrighted, so anybody can. I really don't care. But I'm doing this for illustrative purposes because I think it's important for some of you guys to know. That in this world, we are in the image of God and the likeness of God. A lot of people know that. I mean, whoever God is, He's the one that created us. I think that It's obvious to most people that we are created beings, and whoever God is, that he was the one that created. That is very much in most people's minds. There are atheists that would tend to disagree, but there are even a lot of people that are, say, agnostic or pretty much on the line of atheism, but they would still say that there is some higher intelligence out there that created us. They just don't want to call that God. So whoever the higher intelligence is out there that created us or put our solar system into motion, that same created us as great. And I think that's very, very important. And what I've been trying to work on since yesterday, October 20th, is working on my own language. And I'm putting this on the screen so you can see that what I'm doing is creating my own verbs and nouns and adjectives, pronouns, and completely from scratch. And I decided, as far as a paradigm chart, that instead of having, let me go to this other page. Instead of having the the first and second and third person uh, indicators, or like who you're talking to, like most languages are. Let me make sure I can get it. Sorry that I don't have this on PowerPoint or anything, but okay. Instead of having the tense indicators at the beginning or end of a word, like in Latin, you got amo, amas, amat, amamus, amatis, amant, which is the I love, you love, he loves, we love, ye love, and they love. In Greek, you got stuff like blepo, blepomen, blepes, blepeta, blepe, bleposin, which is I see, we see, thou seest, ye see, he, she, or it seeth, and then they got all those tense indicators. But in my new language ideas, I had this idea: we're gonna put the tense indicators in the middle of these words. So I made it up myself. I made up this word that means I know is going to be shmutel chacham, and shmutel chacham sounds kind of gibberish, but if you ask me about my language, sorry if you can't see my face, made up, and so it doesn't have to be ridiculous because it makes sense to me. And again, in this word shmutel kakam, then the L part, that is the first person singular tense indicator. You go to okay, so from shmutel kakam to shmutesh kakam, that would be second person singular. You got shmutwa kakam, that would be third person singular. And the reason why is are possibilities beyond what's found in this universe and beyond what's found in this world. That if I can create a language unlike other languages, totally different, that still actually would count as a language, that means that there are infinite possible languages that could be created, which would imply that out of the 6,500 languages that exist on this earth, whoever created them, whether you want to call it God or a deity or divine or chance random processes of evolution, if there are truly infinite possibilities, which I definitely believe there are, and that's what I'm trying to show, that there's at least very much very many more possibilities than what already is created, that there's a lot more possibilities, a lot more combinations of letters and verbs, I mean, of like nouns and all that to make whatever you want. You can just put consonant and any kind of sound and just make up whatever words you want. And as you're doing that, making up whatever words you want, you can create your own language. And I can show you then. So made up some of my own. And in making up my own flashcards, okay, I'll show you then. if I can find it. My word. Okay. This is the first noun ever created in this new language, and I believe this is going to be called Eliactum when I'm done with it. So I got this flashcard up here, nif, and again, realize that this create a language. Nif is the first is the nominative position. Nok is the genitive singular. I have it in the back. I got this paradigm chart that I created that we got nif for. Am I totally backwards? I don't know why the camera would be inverting this image. Okay, now that just flipped the camera around. Okay, I don't know how to flip the camera around, but anyways, you can always put me up to a mirror if you're on an iPhone or whatever. Sorry that I'm backwards, but anyways, I'm going to continue on. So, nif is the nominative, nifel is the plural. So nif means boy, nifel means boys. You got nifnak means of. Nifgard is of boys. You got nifdat is the dative. Nifpie, and then nifend is the accusative singular, and nifelend is the accusative plural singular. Again, this is all stuff that I've created, and I'm doing this as an experiment to show that there is a lot of other possibilities out there. And just for that, I made this as the first declension. A lot of languages say that the first declension is feminine. I don't know why. First declension would be feminine, and then second declension is masculine. I think masculine should come first. So masculine's my first declension, and feminine is my second. And so for my second, I got pif, that is a girl. And so you can see that it has some kind of rhyme or rhythm to it, that I got nif as a boy, pif as a girl, nifnak, that is of the boy, and then pifmac. Pifmac is going to be of the girl. And then on the back, you can see my paradigm chart that I got, say, right there, pifel, and then pifela. Very similar to the nominative plural for boy, to add the L, nif to nifel, but here we got pif to pifela. Pif is girl, pifela is girls. Then we got pifmac is of the girls, and then here we got pifheilis. Pifheilis is of girls, and then the genitive is quite different than the masculine, but the dative we got pifbat. The only difference is you change nifdat, you change the dot to a bot, and it's kind of funny, and if you think about it in English, dot is dative, and then also bot, that's the Hebrew word for a daughter or girl. It can be kind of easy to remember. Then pifnie is actually just inverted of nifpie. Yeah, nifpie, pifnie is of no, that's two or for the girls. And then finally, the accusative, you got pifaq that's the accusative ending is aq, where in the masculine, the ending is nifend, which is kind of funny that the ending would actually be end. As I'm the kind actually make an ending that is end. From a non-English or German point of view, you probably wouldn't get what end even means. But for me, I know German, I know English, and end is end, and so that's why I made that the ending. And then you got something like pifel, and you got the accusative aq, and also you got the plural l in there, piflaq. And so this is showing my new vocabulary that I've started, which I think is pretty cool. So I got a masculine, I got a feminine of my new vocabulary, and then I got a few more vocabulary words. I got height. Height is the word for strength or power or force, and that's masculine. We got height and heitnak. We got dim and dimnak. That is the word for frustration. Dim. Dimnak is frustration. Lore well, what do you think lore should be? Well, I thought of lore, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to make that history, because lore is a good noun, and it, just seems like it should be. For God is los now. Again, this is made up. I'm the one creating this language, and I have the right to do whatever I want. So basically, I made sure to make this a masculine, because this is the word for God, los, and losnak is the genitive of God. And the reason I got like this, I got the L for the Jewish Elohim, and I got the S, uh, and I mean, it's kind of completely made up, but the reason is because I don't want it to be too close to any other kind of languages. Something like this, yam, I did yam for C, yam, yamnak for C, because that's the Hebrew word for C. So there's going to be some similarity to other languages, but some things like leaf, I got this word leaf, not, leaf and nifnak, word for liberty and justice for all. So again, those are some of my nouns. Oh, okay, so now I can go to feminine nouns. I got the word bach, mach, mach. That's the word for flower or sprout. And I got the parrot. I got leet and leetmach. That's the word for a river or a stream. Got the word gormach. That's the word for a pig or a swine. And feech and feechmach. That is the word for a cabinet. So you can see I got some basic vocabulary down, but a lot of it's still in the process of inventing, and some of this stuff doesn't seem to have started. If you're still watching this, hear me out, because I'm going to talk more about title with the Illuminati matrix. All of this is a prerequisite to getting onto my point that it's important for you guys to realize first the creativity that we are given and the ability that we have to create. This fundamental thing I think of in who we are and what we are is language or information. What is that information? It can all be explained in language, in either English or Chinese or German, Dutch, Danish, Japanese, you name it. Whatever language you speak, that is how you decode information. And what I'm trying to do is, if I can create a language from my own self and create it to a point where I could actually translate, say, the Bible, or translate other literature into this language that's completely made up from myself. That is a way of it's the same idea as like living off the grid or getting away from that from underneath age of somebody else and going to something, and that everybody do, or I should say most everybody, or maybe not everybody. But anyways, a lot of people could be capable if they wanted to be, but they don't think about it that way because they're born in this matrix prison. Whatever you believe, or whether you believe that this world's not everything that exists, all that there is. I know that in the Torah, the Bible teaches that Earth is just a temporary place, and then we're going to live forever and ever in a place in the kingdom of heaven. I believe that's a very important a very important part of life to realize that this is not where we're going to live for all of eternity. Again, the Bible's not the only place that teaches that. There are many different religions and many different myths and legends saying this is not all there is. Even Socrates, on his deathbed, in the book Plato's Phaedo, said that he did not believe that he was going to die. He was just leaving his body, and his body was going to die. But he believed that there was life beyond. And I think that's what's really important. That we are living in a created world by Elohim, Yehovah, whatever you want to call the deity. This is where we are, and this is what we're living in. We're living in a place, and it is similar to a matrix or a computer system. And I know some of it, like, oh, Nathaniel, people are the one, what, you can't actually believe that. But again, I'm not trying to say it in a weird way. I'm just trying to say that the way that you design a computer program, you could put limitations on what languages people speak, what ons and offs are here, but there's definitely limitations. What I'm trying to limitations don't have to be there, and stuff like the limitations of languages is something that can be overcome. All you have to do is create a big enough vocabulary and a big enough, big enough literary, I guess, just translate enough books and everything into that language, really delve into that language, and before long you could be speaking a language that you created yourself, and that's what I'm planning to do. And I want to go on with some more of these verbs then. So this verb right here is nomelaki. Nomelaki means I see. And this word, you can see how I put the tense indicator at the middle. You'd either have it at the end or you wouldn't have it, or put it at the beginning. But this one I have the tense indicator at the middle. The these and the laki, those are both part of the, and in doing the middle, I can actually make the by inverting the two sides. So instead of saying nomelaki, to say laki el nom, laki el nom means I am seen, or I'm being seen. So that would be the inverted. Like this, you got shmut el kakam. Shmut el kakam means I know. You invert that and you say kakam el shmut, that is I am being known. And again, I got the tense indicators, the verb, first person, second person, third person, and singular, plural indicators here. They're all going in the middle of the words, and so you got L for singular, esh for second person singular, and wa for third person singular. And this is all stuff that I've created. I made sure that it does not match any language that I know about, at least not that well. Like to put a sh or an s in the second person singular, I do know that Russian and Greek and Latin all have that in common, and so does maybe Hebrew, second person singular. But in some places, I mean, there are languages like Russian, Polish, Greek, and Latin that put it like that. But for me, I don't mind copying some languages as long as a lot of it is created of myself. Somewhere means I sing, and then alor means I am sung. And this one has the third person singular, as you can see here. It says lor elwa, and I had to add an e, otherwise it'd just be lorwa. And I didn't want to have a word that would just lorwa, so I got lorella. That sounds a lot better in this language. And now I'm going to talk about some sentences that I've constructed, because I think it's important to get on some grammar. And yes, so the word for I feel is regelmish, not 10% a while. Regelmish demend means I feel frustrated. Regelmish is I feel, and demend is the word for frustrated or frustration. Regel demend is because regel demend about the Illuminati matrix system. It's something where I wish that we didn't have these limitations binding us. The whole ice wall theory, whatever it is, it's in movies, portrayed in animated movies and live action movies. A lot of videos are portrayed by the Illuminati as if, you know, the series Under the Dome, that we're living under a dome in some kind of a closed system, and in movies like The Maze Runner indicates that we are being tested or tried as an experiment. Sometimes people might freak out and, you know, go crazy because they can't take this information, but I think it's important to step aside from an outside perspective and try to understand what this world is in which we live, because it's not something that we should freak out about. That there is a world beyond this one. There is a there's a place. There's probably many places, beaches, millions and trillions and gazillions of languages possible to be in place, that real life beings, whether they're human or not, but real life beings can be speaking. I think it's something that we should all take in consideration. I want to read a few sentences before I cut this to an end. So, Nif mishwakak korend means the boy is playing a game. So Nif, that's my word for boy. Mishwakak is the third person singular. He's playing. Korend, that is again, to remember, the accusative singular accusative position. Korelend would be games. You put the L for the plural and end for the ending. It's pretty easy and simple as that. So, Nif mishwakak korend is the boy plays a game. Now, if you take that around, remember in the passive, I can try to put this on the screen, but sorry that I got this inverted. I don't know why I'm inverted. This seems really weird. Anyway, you put it around in the mishwaka, you got kakwamish. Kakwamish is the passive tense, so kor kakwamish nifnak. That's the game is being played by the boy. Kor kakwamish nifnak. Kor kakwamish. That means that the game is being played by the boy. Now you can make that a plural and say nifel mishprikak korend. Now the word mishprikak, you got the pre in there. Remember, that's in the middle. The reason we got the tense indicator in the middle of the verb is because to make it passive, you can just invert the two sides. So instead of nifel mishprikak korend, you can just or you can say korel mishprikak or kakprimish, and that's just by the boy. The word give is bageldet, and so that's what. Where is it? Okay, I want to make this final thing. So I want to do in the nif bagwadet pifbat korend. That the boy gives the girl the game. And to do it that way with the dative and accusative together, that the boy is giving the girl the game, you got to do nif bagwadet giveth, and then again to do receiveth, to just switch it around, which is really kind of cool. So I got nif bagwadet pifbat korend, the girl giveth, or the boy giveth the girl the game, and then to do it in the reverse, that the girl is the one receiving the game. You just gotta do pif korend. That was at the game. So I'm gonna try to put this on the screen. I'm gonna have to do a PowerPoint in the future, showing like basic 101 of this language. Because as I could see, I got 4 people, 5 people viewing it. At least some people are interested. Maybe for more reasons than others, I don't know. But anyways, my point in sharing all this is not that I want everybody to speak a language that I created. It's that I want to show people that you can create your own languages, and you don't have to be trapped in this Illuminati matrix system where everything is just controlled, everything is trapped. Like, you know, the United States of America has got like 300 and so many million people that all speak the same language, English. Some of them not even too much. They only speak 4-letter words, or about 25 words. And you want to live your life that. But at the same time, if you want to have more. If you want to not be controlled by created a language for you, you have the freedom to create your own language and create your own life. That there are infinite choices that you can make in life. There's infinite possibilities that you can have. That's why for me, I see there's infinite possibilities of languages. And again, I'm the one trying to define things like Lorella means I sing, which I could always say Lorella means I eat, and all I'd have to do is, scribble that out and change it, and I have full control to do so if I want, because this is a language that I got control over, and I'm the one creating. And I think that it's sure that just for the point of we're not limited as human beings to the extent which we're being told. There are infinite possibilities. There are infinite languages you can speak, you can go, and there's a lot more out there than just what you see right now. So if I can help anybody come out of this delusion, this sleep that everybody's put in, that this is all there is to life, you just um, go to work, get your paycheck, pay your bills, go to work, and then have this cycle going. All there is to life. Right now, yes, I have to go to work, get my paycheck. I'm living in a cycle like most everybody else is, but there are other options to live my entire life this way. I plan to explore other possibilities in the future, and meantime, I'm exploring possibilities of creating my own languages and trying to figure out what possibly could be beyond the ice wall. And I have that in the title, and I know you could think, well, you didn't even talk about the ice wall. Well, that is my big finale. So people say that there's this ice wall. Admiral Byrd said that there's something beyond. There's this continent. There's other lands beyond. I believe there are other realms beyond. Whether or not there's an ice wall, I don't know. But there are other realms beyond this flat Earth and other languages. And they would maybe look like seem alien. With assumption of study is to try to create my own languages, create my own theology, my own ideas. Everything I have is personalized to me. Nobody else is telling me what to do or what to say or what to think, okay? Some of this could be done through mind control, that subconsciously there's other, computer generated software trying to put thoughts in my mind. I don't know. But what I do know is that I like a church system, have some pastor that I listen to, or go to some other religious movement or anything like that. I want to make up my own conclusions by myself. I've read the Bible several times. I make my own theology by myself. I don't want to do, because I don't believe that's belief. Almighty God, Jehovah Elohim, He created us so that we should come to conclusions about life and about reality and about how to live our lives by ourselves. And we don't need this control. We definitely don't need the government telling us what to do, and we definitely don't need the Illuminati telling us what to do. So, I really hope that covers my basic topics for today. I think that some people are going to take this message the wrong way, and if they do, oh well. But just know that this video, my ramblings on about that limited as what we are, that a lot of people have a very limited idea about reality and about life, and we don't have to be that limited. So again, I have other things to do for today. I'm just trying to check in with you guys and say shalom. I'll be seeing you guys